All right. So thanks again, everybody, for coming. My name is Rod Soto, and I'm a co-founder of Hack Miami, co-founder of president of Pacific Hackers in San Jose, California. And today, yes, the recording will be shared, will be posted in YouTube. So today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about WhatsApp Signal and Telegram attack vectors. The reason why I did this presentation is obviously I'm interested as a researcher myself, and I want you to understand that what you're about to see today was done in a research environment, and it was done within the confines of the law. Nothing illegal will be shown here, just in case you were looking forward. There will be some things that are very, very interesting. And there will be things that you probably didn't imagine you could do with these things. These things are public knowledge. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of curious names today, right? I think you guys are going to learn a lot, just like I did. And it's important that we pay attention to this because a lot of the usage of users are it's moving towards mobile applications, and people nowadays have their lives in their phones. So consequently, it's not strange or odd that attackers are focusing on the most used applications. We also have a contextual, I guess, variable, which is the recent events within not only the update of the Facebook privacy policy, but also we now have censorship, because that's what I believe it is, censorship of certain apps in the app stores. You don't have much of choice, by the way. You either Google or Apple. You have a little more choice if you have Google, because you can steal stuff from unknown sources. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about it. I actually did some research on it, and it will give you a little bit of a FYSA of what's going on. I feel, to give you a little context, that it's very unfortunate what happened with the censorship and how the world, it's not just America, the world perceived the closing of these apps, and this has generated a full movement. And you will see it in just a second. You see how things are evolving. The situation right now is very fluid, and you will see a lot of new things in the upcoming months. Most of it will have to do with people skewing or avoiding American apps. And it's unfortunate that Silicon Valley have placed themselves in that situation. So let's get started. Let's see here. Right. If you can see this, well, please let me know. Questions at the end, please. All right. So here we go. So this is my webpage. This is where you can find me and contact me. Most of you know who I am. I've been in the industry for more over a decade, years. I've spoken pretty much everywhere. Been quoted or spoken. Many of the media have a ton of search, to which at this point I don't even consider relevant placing them, but I do. I still keep them. So I co-founded Pacific Hackers in Hack Miami. So here, let's start with placing this from the situational perspective. This is something that I took for a Hootsuite report of a digital user on the world. So as you can see, there is 5 billion, again, 5 billion users in the world. And there is a total population of 7.6 billion. So that tells you how important is the mobile usage and how important is the mobiles as attack surface. It's not only a personal attack surface, it's a corporate attack surface as well, because corporations are doing either BPOD or they're still, some of them are still issuing devices. You can see there that mobile social media users is around 3.2 billion. So this is very important. This is something that you have to consider and understand from the perspective of what is it that we're looking at, right? And many times here in America, we have a bias perception, and we just think that our apps are the universe, and they're not. So let's move on. Here's a breakdown of the most used messenger, which is what we're focusing today, messenger applications today in the world. So you can see WhatsApp is the king. Facebook Messenger is actually very popular in the United States. And then you have other applications, including Telegram. I don't even see Signal here. Signal is up and coming, but it's not really there yet. So here's to give you a perspective of how widespread is the use of these messenger applications. So WhatsApp, Telegram, and Signal are, in my opinion, for the context that I am doing this research in the United States, the most popular messaging applications. They provide multimedia messaging, talking picture, video, voice, and text. These applications, they process a huge amount of data, and in that amount of data, there's a lot of sensitive information. Depending on your phone and the permissions, these applications can be considered high risk, and can be considered high risk because some of them can access things that may not be enough to take over a phone, but enough to extract sensitive information like your contacts, a lot of your metadata, your IP address, your geolocation, and your interactions. And what I was trying to say is that the phone has become the ultimate crown jewel when you're targeting a persona, because pretty much all their lives are recorded within these devices. And if you obtain, which I will show you, and what we're about to see, if you obtain the phone, you can compromise the persona. You can do many things to harm this person, or completely understand the interactions, the family circle, family and friends, colleagues, everything that you need about this person. Okay, so let's talk about WhatsApp. WhatsApp is owned by Facebook. It claims around 2 billion users around the world. 2 billion. It's available in 180 countries, 60 languages. Before recent privacy fiasco, WhatsApp was estimated to have around 1 of every 5 US adults. So consider that 1 of every 5 US adults use WhatsApp. That was before the problem that they have with the issue that they have with the update of the privacy policy. It's estimated to be used around 5 million number in the sense of businesses. The biggest market of WhatsApp is India, with 340 million users. It's proprietary. Its code is not open source. It has been blocked in Cuba, Russia, Syria, Iran, and North Korea. Some of the WhatsApp features: they have end-to-end encryption. They use voice calls, video calls, file sharing, group chats, and they do have step verification that protects users from account hijacking, which is something very popular we're about to see. Telegram. So let's talk a little bit about Telegram. Telegram was founded by the same founders of the Russian BK, which is pretty much a Facebook clone. They're headquartered in Dubai. They claim around 500 million users, and this actually places them ahead of Twitter in popularity. Telegram is certainly the leader in very specific markets. It was in Iran until it was blocked, and it's open source. Telegram is a very interesting app. From the research perspective, Telegram is almost an alternate, and you will see why. There is some information going back and forth suggesting that the Russian government may have the keys of Telegram. Um, that may be true, that may be not. It's also true that the founders of Telegram had their own fallouts with the Putin government. So we had to see. Um, we had to look at that information with from different contexts. Here's some of the Telegram features. Accounts linked to a phone can be accessed from multiple devices. It has a web interface. It has a two-step verification. It has a secret chat end-to-end encryption. You had to select it. Web messages are encrypted by a TLS and SSL. The encryption key obviously is at the server. It has browsable channels. So basically, if you join Telegram, you can actually search for channels, and then you can join these channels. Some of these channels are places where you can just watch, and some others you can chat. So Telegram has become. Give me a second. Okay. So some of these channels have become very popular, and there's been quite a fair number of new channels since the issue with Facebook, as they claim they have around 500 million users now. There are other things that you can do in Telegram as well. There are links and files that you can actually browse. So like I was saying before, Telegram is almost an alternate. It's its own thing. And you can find pretty much everything you want, everything. They do a good measure of moderation, but in certain ways, Telegram has become the alternative against Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is now censoring, blocking at the App Store level. I actually saw that the founders of Telegram are actually even having plans on how they're going to do in case they get censored. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next months we have a third alternative to Google and Apple, because simply users do not like what happened. I mean, it's very clear to me. I want to see in every single net and want alternatives. They want to do what they want to do, and they want to choose what they want to see, regardless if the users that take action in these platforms are malicious or benign. They do want to have the alternative. So Telegram, without any doubt, is an app to watch. There's some nonprofits that are already suing to have Telegram banned. They're already prepared for a ban. They're gonna have you installed from unknown sources. This is the future we're gonna have. We're gonna have a future of apps that are not may not be approved by big tech, but they will be installed somehow, some way through another means. This is what's happening. There's a reason why there's this splurge of new Discord channels and new Telegram channels. This did not happen by accident. This happened for a reason. So, like I said before, if you're a researcher, Telegram there's a lot of material. There's all kinds of stuff, and Telegram has vulnerabilities. I'm going to show you some of them in the next slides. There is actually a feature of Telegram, which is people nearby. And people nearby will tell you, if you choose to do so, it will tell you who's close to you. And it will allow you to message them. There are some risks with this as well. So I'm going to show you in a few slides. They use symmetric encryption via the mProto, which is their own protocol. And they use 2056-bit symmetric AES encryption. Telegram has been blocked in Russia, Iran, China, Pakistan. So again, I'm not ready to make a final judgment on the if the Russian government has their keys or not, because there seems to be a lot of back and forth between them and the owners. But again, I personally would not use Telegram for my private stuff. I do use it, which I will suggest you further on this presentation. Use it for research. Use it as a burner. Don't use this for private purposes. And I'm going to show you why, because I'm going to show you some exploitation tools that can reveal a lot about you. All right, let's go with Signal. Signal was co-founded by Moxie Manley Spike. Many of us know Moxie. Moxie's always been like him or not, he's always been an advocate for privacy. And he's always been an advocate for secure communications. This is an app that is right now considered the most secure. There are some vulnerabilities. I'm going to show you some of them. But in general, this is the app that I will consider most secure at this point. Now, remember this: Signal is very flat. All what they do is you communicate. You can do groups, you can do calls, but it's not like Telegram. Telegram, you can actually have your own links, have files. There are different, obviously there are things that you win, things that you lose in terms of privacy, but in terms of if you're trying to do secure communications and end-to-end encryption, Signal is the way to go, right? So let's move on. This, again, it's been blocked in Iran, Egypt, UAE, and Qatar, or was blocked at one point. And it's the least popular of all of them. They calculate approximately around 20 million users. They've been having some issues on the escalation of users. It's natural for an app that is growing so fast, and I'm really looking forward of Signal growing. I'm sure they're going to blame them, sue them, and say that they do encryption and they help terrorists and some BS, just like they did with other people that have sensors. So pay attention to this, because I don't think we're out of this situation, guys. I think it's going to continue. All right. So in Signal features, end-to-end video calling, messaging and texting, group calls up to 8 people, automatic end-to-end encryption. That's pretty good. Not by default on Telegram. WhatsApp is good too with that. And end-to-end, WhatsApp uses actually Signal protocol, and it actually, WhatsApp is in that sense is reliable. That they use the metadata from one end to the other to do other things, it's a different deal. But for what I research, as far as the end-to-end is private. One of the features that they have and became popular and is being adopted now by other platforms is the message timer. So you can basically write a message and say, I want this deleted in 5 minutes. The encryption is by a Signal protocol that combines a double ratchet algorithm, pre-keys, and extended triple Diffie-Hellman X3DH handshake. It uses curve 25519, AES 256, and HMAC -SHA-256 as primitives. And for those of you who are cryptography experts, awesome. For many of us, we kind of understand what this is, but it's hard to get to the detail each one of them. Signal relies on a centralized server, and this server uses registered users' contacts for discovery and exchange of keys. And the keys are renewed when a user changes phone. It will warn you. It will tell you, hey, the session key has changed. You need to renew it. This is some of the features of Signal. So now let's do a basic security comparison between these 3 apps, right? From the data collection perspective, Signal does not collect any data, only phone number. Telegram collects your name, your phone number, your contacts, your user ID, and your IP address. And WhatsApp collects a dumb. I will show you how much they collect. The cost: Signal free, no ads. Telegram free, no ads. And WhatsApp is free. I actually remember when I started using WhatsApp. Before it was acquired by Facebook, I actually pay $1. It used to cost $1. They don't charge anymore. Are they open source? Signal, yes, full open source. Telegram, some parts of the code of Telegram are actually open source, and WhatsApp is completely proprietary. In terms of encryption, Signal protocol, it offers full encryption end-to-end. Telegram, they have the mProto, which is does not encrypt end-to-end by default. You had to select it. In WhatsApp, they use the Signal protocol. But remember, cloud backups are not encrypted. Why you have to worry about this? Because if somebody hijacks your account, which we're about to show, and you have backups, and they download those backups, now they have all your media and all your messages. So be careful with that. I actually personally, I don't back up any of my WhatsApp conversations or media. If I lost it, I lost it. But that is a risk, definitely. From the MFA perspective, all of them have incorporated two-factor, because obviously the hijacking and stealing of these accounts has become very popular. And then the disappearing messages. Signal and Telegram have it, and WhatsApp is supposed to apply it soon. Okay, yeah, about WhatsApp. I took this from Forbes. So here's a comparison. I took this from Forbes again of the data that's linked to you according to messages or Signal or WhatsApp. So here's the data that's linked to you on WhatsApp, and that, as you can see, that's a lot. That's a lot. And I understand WhatsApp. Listen, I like WhatsApp, and I feel like WhatsApp is an incredible business tool, but I certainly I don't feel comfortable in terms of the privacy for an end user, and I just don't grasp the need to have all this and give this to a third party that then will sell it to who knows. And that's where the danger of this comes. We don't have any certainty of where is this information going to be sold. You're now combining the Facebook conglomerate, right? Now you have Facebook, Snapchat, Messenger, WhatsApp. Guys, I worked in Silicon Valley, and at times you get proxies. You get companies that they look great in paper, whatever, and they happen to be proxies from foreign governments. They might be even buying this type of information and helping FIS, a Foreign Intelligence Service, to prey on Americans or any user, by the way. Which the funny thing about this, guys, is that you may be avoiding censorship, for example, in a country where you're being persecuted, and then because of this, possibly, you might be able to be given this information that may affect users on a third country because of the amount of info that these apps collect. So in that sense, I would say it's a high risk, right? And I say this responsibly. I think there is a risk. Facebook doesn't offer a transparency report that says this is who we provided data. They don't say that, and the only reason why this happens is because we have whistleblowers. So we have a right to distrust. We have a right to question what are they doing with all this data, right? Even though I have Facebook, I have WhatsApp. I know people on Facebook. They have incredibly brilliant people. They have people that are good at heart, that want to change the internet and make good. However, I'm sorry, the leadership doesn't seem to follow that direction. And the presence that we have with this application are very worrisome. So I don't blame when a lot of people says, hey, I don't want to use this anymore. I'm going to use Signal. So it seems like there's a lot of questions, guys. We'll get to them in a few. I like that you guys are excited. Okay. All right. So it's almost 2:40. So look, here I made a compilation of, these are not the entire universe, right, of vulnerabilities and exploitation, but these are the ones that I personally consider the most relevant, because they some of them are still applicable. And I'm going to show, I'm not going to do a live demo. I already took screens and sanitized them, but I'm going to show you why some of these applications, you have to be careful with them. They are actively exploited. If I was able to do that, anybody can do that. Let's go over a little bit of what I found, right? From the WhatsApp perspective, you have link previews, right? By the way, this is not a new technique. I've seen this to track people. Basically, they send you, they attach some sort of a dot or a graph that sometimes the end user does not see. But this graph calls a server, and then you are able to your IP address is given away. The link previews have been shown to do that for WhatsApp. Some of this have been fixed and are being addressed right now. Some others were addressed in one place. Correct, Ace. Link previews are on Discord too. That is correct. I will show you screenshots because I found this myself. And then some others, if you know where to look, you'll still find them. Invalid characters. There was an attack where you send a bunch of number of invalid characters. It will crash the app. Then there's our buffer management issues and memory buffer issues, management issues at the app level. The QR hijack, which we are going to show today. I'm gonna show you a demo of it. Works, actually works pretty good. There is a way when you say call forwarding that you can have. Remember this: in many of these attacks, you had to have physical possession of the phone. If you don't have physical possession of the phone, some of these attacks are simply not possible. So, for example, there's one where if you are able to use call forwarding and use the call option on WhatsApp, you actually will be able to connect to the session and see everything they're typing. You have things such as the OTP sniffing, right? The one-time password, which is basically at times they even, I read in places that they will even try to see if the person has, for example, the warnings or the messages that pop up in their screen, and then with that register another account or open a different session. And I'm going to show you at the end because I say the best for the end. Instead of targeting these three things, just get the whole phone. And I'm going to show you a couple of apps. One of them is open source. One of them is private. And it's pretty scary what they can do. I'll show it to you. So be careful with the OTP. The OTP, exactly. That's the way to go. The OTP, obviously, there are many ways. Recently there was a instance where you will socially engineer the victim. The victim is pretexted, so the attacker already knows either a phone they know, either a person they know. This can be done by a Facebook. This can be done by many things. You can Google and find phones of the person, and then tell them, hey, you got this code by accident. Can you send me the code? Obviously, many people, believe it or not, did, and their accounts were hijacked. So we also had the the CVE dash 2019 11931, which is the buffer overflow on the an MP4. I was gonna try to test this, but it was too old. I couldn't get enough a platform where I could try it. There is again the assumption that the founder of Amazon may have been hacked by a buffer overflow, by a specific crafted exploit for iPhone and WhatsApp that apparently had to do with some sort of an image. I wouldn't say that this is impossible. We don't have proof if it happened or not, but I wouldn't discard it. I think it's definitely possible. You can also do voicemail, which basically, and this is one of the things they do, sometimes it's not difficult to guess your voicemail password, which is usually 4 characters. You also have to do this when the victim is passed out or sleeping or they're traveling. And then with that verification code, they proceed to hijack the account. And obviously, if you decided to back up your conversations and they're not encrypted, they just come down, they have everything. And then there were some chats that were indeed indexed. And I'm going to show you some screenshots because I found it. So let's move on to Signal. In Signal, we have our first vulnerability. Most of these vulnerabilities have been already addressed. I don't have anything to show you today per se about Signal exploitation wise, but these are some of the vulnerabilities that I thought were relevant. And if you had not updated, which I think is very difficult because many times they force you to update, you had to take care of them, right? So one of them has to do with DNS leakage, which may indicate what the person is connecting, invalid character or the IDN homograph attack sometimes has to do with the way foreign characters are translated. So it may say something completely different in a foreign language, but the way it's translated, it looks like it's legit.com. And then the person clicks on it thinking it's legit.com. And a lot of times this is a very good vector for phishing. And this has been used against browsers as well. There is a vulnerability for 2019 where there was a Signal desktop privilege escalation, and there is the 2018 one, which is I didn't want to go further than 2 years, where it forces the device to restart. So let's go now on Telegram. So there is a Telegram scraper. I used it. It works. And I'm going to show it to you in a minute. There's a Telegram, which is basically a code that steals a Telegram channel that allows you to steal a Telegram channel. I saw the code, but I didn't want to use it because I didn't feel necessary to steal anybody's channel. I just researched it. You can do shadow sessions via malicious apps. Basically, it does not notify of the second session. There are binaries and APKs. There are APKs that may actually target. WhatsApp, the Iranians did this, by the way. Again, you can have an end-to-end encryption, but if I have like a keylogger, for example, or I'm able to own the phone, it's not much. I mean, I don't care. I'm gonna get everything you type. So the Telegram, there's a Telegram channel stealer, which is another binary. But again, in some of these attacks, you have to do social engineering. You have to have the victim or the target open it and execute it, right? Which at times is not that easy. There is a CVE of 2018 17780, which is basically Telegram desktop. Remember, Telegram has a web interface, like we said before. The keys are at the server, and the messages are encrypted via SSL or TLS. So it's really not end-to-end, and this can be targeted as well. And there was a flaw where Telegram desktop was actually leaking user IP during calls. There is actually a botnet which I found is really cool and creative. There is it's something called a rat attack, which basically was a Telegram-based botnet, and it was a botnet that was based on Telegram users, and it was a very creative way of creating a botnet. Also, there is something called a Katusha Telegram, which is pretty cool. It was a scanner based on Arachne or Arachni, whatever I don't know how to pronounce it well. But basically, what this did was it scan. If you're familiar with Telegram, you'll see that there are links. So this was scanning all those links and finding SQL flaws, and it was telling you, hey, there's an injection point here. There's a this X type of SQL injection at this website. So that actually there's a tool that does that. And at one point they had a deep fake bot, which is also something. I mean, it's not funny for this to happen, right? But you gotta give it that this is somebody that had a lot of time on their hand, which was basically it was scanning for pictures of women, and then it caught their face and then added to a different body, and that happened. That was stopped too, right? So it's pretty embarrassing and not nice, but this happened actually. So let's move on. So here, remember that I told you that some of the links, the conversations were being indexed. There you go. There's one. You can see the number, and you can see what they were trying to talk about. There it is. If you actually look at site awa.me, still in DuckDuckGo, they're still there. You can still find it. This is a vulnerability. And I wouldn't be surprised that this is cache, because one of the things that DuckDuckGo does is grabs from either Bing or Google and then puts in there, and then they have to be removed from those websites in order to be removed from DuckDuckGo. I just went through a case that I had to basically delete a link and come to find that out. All right, so here's the QORL hijack. So what you see here is me in my lab. Basically what I did is you clone the QR hijack. It has a PHP server that emulates the QR code. You then need to send this to the victim, obviously. There is a part where you have to compel or persuade the victim to actually either scan it or click on the link, and then this is what happens. You will mirror the conversation. They might not even realize what's going on, and everybody's reading everything. You're talking to this person. In fact, I had 2 burners. I did this with 2 burners just to make sure that you can get it done. Look, I used this in an iPhone. I used this in an Android, and it worked. There's the proof, and I did it with 2 completely unrelated, brand new, no updates, nothing. And latest version of WhatsApp, got it. And as you can see, I'm able to snoop in the conversation between this, and I will be able to see all the conversations and media. As you can see, I actually sent myself a picture to see if I could get actual media from the actual conversations. And as you can see, there it is. So there is another app, by the way, that was developed under OWASP. There's an OWASP QR hijacker. I had issues with because I was trying Ubuntu 20, and I guess my libraries weren't right. It was not working. So I went back to this one. This one, as of now, works. Okay, so let's go Telegram. So here's a demo for the Telegram scraper. So of course, you know, I wouldn't do anything to anybody I wouldn't do to myself. So I decided to scrape my own channel. Well, it's not mine, it's our channel. So in this, obviously, you open the scraper, right? You had to give it some permissions. There's some process. There are things that I'm omitting here for, obviously, I don't want everybody going crazy after this presentation, but basically, look, you're able to scrape everybody that is in the channel, and then you can send them text messages. Check it out. That's everybody that is in our channel, or was at the time that I scraped it, and then I send them a message. So does this tell you that maybe a nation state or an agency or a company with more resources may be able to link that metadata that we have on the left to actual phone numbers? Absolutely. And I think the Iranians actually did it at one point. So be careful. I just did this. So this is valid. This still works. And this is a way to basically identify, because some people, by innocence or naivete, right? They put their names. So you can, for example, go right now, choose a channel, scrape it, you see names, you see actual names. You can then Google them, you can research them, right? Obviously, I sanitize everything, but you can do this right now. And it's getting crazy because this is becoming incredibly popular. Like I told you guys, the Telegram is the refuge of all these people that don't want to have anything to deal with the Silicon Valley tech. And it's not just in the US, it's everywhere. I mean, the Telegram is exploding right now. So there you have it. This thing is pretty effective. You can use it for pen testing, use it for OSINT, you can use it for many things, and it does work. Okay, so wait, I got more. So why, instead of worrying about these apps, why don't we just take over the phone, right? So I said, instead of attacking the app, why not take over the whole phone, right? So here are a couple of tools that I researched, right? One of them is under Rat, which some of you already know. It's a popular Android Trojan. And then I tested the MSpy. MSpy is a popular as well surveillance tools for kids. It's sold under the flag of protecting kids and monitoring what they're doing. So I'll tell you a little bit of what I found. So under Rat, I done it before. Here's as you can see, extracted all my contacts. Here is look, I got my IMEI of the burner. Tells you the country, serial number, a bunch of other stuff. You can send messages. I know Rat has actually plugins. This is a version that I found somewhere on the web. So it still works. I tested it on Android 9 and still works. And this is a way of, at one point, it was very, very popular and affected a lot of people. You can get messages and get the Android data, send commands. So this is for nothing. It's free. And then here's me testing the SMS messaging. You can put spam here. You can put payloads. You can do so many things with this. So this tool still works. If you have, I would say, somebody with a phone that is 2 or 3 years old, which is not uncommon, you could probably use this tool, right? There's a good chance that the updates will kill it, or the agent sometimes stop working. But Definitely, it does. It does work, right? And then see if we go into this guy's NSpy. And NSpy is a tool for monitoring. Some people have, or is sold under the umbrella of protecting kids, and this may as well be the purpose of the developers. But unfortunately, like any great technology, and this is a great tool, you're about to see why, can be used for malicious purposes, right? So I don't necessarily accuse them. I don't necessarily accuse them of using this for malicious purposes, right? And I consented to everything that you're about to see, so I'm not blaming them for anything. I actually think that their application is pretty cool. And what this type of tool does, it gets everything. Like if you have an Android phone, just few things that you will not get from this. Like in this case, you can see it, I tested it on Android 9. What you see to the right is the numbers that were called, that were used. It gives you the exact date. It gives you the text messages. They even have furthermore features when they can actually see WhatsApp, they can see Snapchat, they can see Facebook. They can actually detect what are the Wi-Fi networks that the phone is at, and you can actually block the phone from accessing the Wi-Fi network. Here's some other examples. Here's me, for example. So I said, I'm gonna set up an alert that every time I type hack Miami in this phone, no matter where, it's gonna send me an email. It works. There it is. What you see on the right is the actual alert. What you see on the left is the filter that I created at their platform. They do have a platform. They send you the APK. Yes, it costs money, but it's pretty effective. I was surprised to see this. You don't need to spend $500,000. All you need is 3 to 4 minutes with Target, cell phone, and this. And if you own the phone, it's even faster. The case is not the same for Apple. I tested it on Apple too, and it's not the level of, and kudos to Apple, by the way, because Apple was very restrictive, and you can see almost anything. I'm going to show you in just a second. So you can track by keywords. You can get all the pictures. I think I have them here as me. Extracted all the pictures that I had in the phone. Gives you all the calls. Gets your calendar, show you the Wi-Fi networks, install apps, geolocation, everything. This is like industrial grade surveillance. And one thing that I caught, because when I did set up this, I did not select the make it undetectable, which was the last step. There are a lot of stuff that I didn't put here for obvious reasons, but if you ever see something like this, dude, you are more than compromised. There's no way to detect this. There's just no way to detect this. And also, I discovered that sometimes when the phone disconnected or I turn it off, I will get an alert. And you can actually send a message to the target phone, and it activates again. So if you start seeing weird SMS messages in your phone with like very long codes, you may want to worry about it, because that was a way to activate this, by the way. But this application is incredibly difficult to detect. If you're using this, or if you think about using this because you want to monitor your child. I'm not going to say your partner, because I think that's illegal unless you own the phone. But if you if you are, I've seen cases on myself where I saw a case of a person whose daughter, minor, was leaving the house at 2, 3 a.m. And then one of the things that she was doing in order to avoid being tracked, even with the normal Find Friends or whatever that you can use with the iOS, was she was turning off the cell phone, and then the other party was sending her an Uber. So basically, there was no way to track her until she would turn back up the phone, which basically when she was coming back. So kids nowadays are pretty smart. And if you have something like this, which again is legal, you can use it. It depends on the way you use it. You may get in trouble, right? If you're violating the privacy of somebody, or you're installing it in an authorized manner. This is commercial grade surveillance. It's got everything you want. This is no. I understand why they're so popular, because it's a good tool if you, for the purposes they're trying to do. Obviously, I'm not saying you should do this, and I myself wouldn't do it. I did this for research, and because I was curious, because I get constantly call, Rod, my daughter's doing this, my son. I suspect that he's meeting with people that are doing drugs, or they're doing crime. I need to know what's going on, and many times they feel like that their hands are tied. I still feel like there's a great area here, and between privacy and trying to protect your children, but it's available. It is there. I didn't create it, and it's there, and these things are becoming popular. So here's the I used the Apple. So I actually got an Apple phone, all iPhone, and I said, let's test it. Let's see how good this is, because I was very impressed of what this tool can do with Android. And I said, let's see if it's that good with Apple, because we all know Apple is harder to compromise, and it's harder to hack, unless you basically jailbreak the phone. So the first thing I found, which kudos to Apple, and I was pleasantly surprised to see this. Apple will not allow you to install this app unless you install it on your own. So you have to install this app on your own phone before you can put it on somebody else's, right? Which I think it makes sense, to be honest, because if you're saying, hey, I want to see where my kid is, okay, well, then you should have it yourself in your own phone. So you have to authorize it. You have to authorize it at your phone, and then it sends you a link to put it on the target phone. But it's not much you can get, actually. I can show you guys. All what you can get is basically location, and it has something cool, which is the SOS button, which you can press and it will tell you exactly who the person is. But other than that, you can see context, but you can't see anything else, really nothing else. You can see text, you can see WhatsApp, you can see all the other features like keylogger, none of that. So again, Apple is, and again, kudos to Apple. This is they're definitely highly secure in perspective of when you compare it to what the things that you can do with an Android off the shelf. So I was pleasantly surprised. I tested both of them. For those of you who are like me, security consultants, and sometimes people get to you desperate. Hey, I need something. You get cases of people that go to foreign countries and get lost and stuff like that. This tool is pretty effective if you're using it on Android. And with that, let's talk about mitigation. So these are sort of my what I, after doing all this research and executing all these tools, this is what I sort of concluded of ways of mitigating if these things are going to be used in a malicious manner against anybody. So do not root, do not jailbreak. That should be a given. If you're gonna root or jailbreak, use a partner, right? If most of you guys researchers like me, don't put this in your phone. WhatsApp is definitely great for business, but not for privacy. I'm sorry. I think that the WhatsApp is going to have to either change or address in a different manner, and actually prove us the way they're managing this information, and who they're selling this to, how they're using it. So I usually tell some of my friends and colleagues and people that ask me for help that you should never mix business with pleasure. You should have a cell phone for business. You should have a cell phone for private, and never mix any of them. Don't mix the contacts. Don't mix the apps. And don't put sensitive information in your private sensitive information in your work or business cell phone. So if you're going to use WhatsApp for business, it's an amazing tool. It's a decision that you have to make if you want to continue using it. I know people that have family. I myself have friends and family abroad, and I will continue using it. I assume the risk, but it is a risk, and you have to assume it. You had to set up MFA at every sensitive application, not just the banks, not just the healthcare, everything. Set up MFA everywhere, may save your day. The iPhone is still the most secure device, as you can see it. You just saw it. And this was me accepting everything. I accepted everything, modified permissions, everything. You can't. So this is proof. And again, kudos to Apple that probably the device that is more secure at this point is the iPhone, unless of course you use nation state level payloads, which cost a lot of money. And if you're not really Jeff Bezos or a governor or a president, very rare that you'll be targeted by this. Signal is the most private messaging application, hands down. You wanna protect your conversations, Signal is the way to go. Lock up your phone. Do not even show text on your screen when locked. This means the OTPs, when you get the OTPs back or the codes. There are people you don't know. If you're in a bar or you're somewhere, somebody bumps you, is able to see the OTP code, and then you're in trouble. Do not install apps from unknown sources. This is also a given. Do not even open messages from unknown sources. When in doubt, factory reset and discard device. And this is true. If I didn't know how difficult was to detect this until I myself tried them. And if I had selected that option to make it undetectable, it would have been literally undetectable. And the only way to get rid of that is by resetting the phone to factory reset. So when in doubt, that's the first thing you need to do. And depending on the situation, you may discard it, use cash, create a different account, buy a different phone, which may be, I've seen some consultants that basically they themselves buy the phones for the victims. So harasser or whoever is targeting them, it takes them more time to find out what sort of new device they're using. Telegram is a very cool tool for research, but I would only use it in a burner. As you can see, I'll show you today, right? I mean, it can be more clear than that. But pay attention to Telegram. I think Telegram is going to places, and it will continue to grow. I'm positive they will. You need to activate my phone or equivalent and be ready to wipe it out if it's lost or stolen. That goes without saying. Wherever you go, whatever you go, wherever you spend the night at, don't let your phone unlock, because many times that is the vector of installing this type of payloads. Do not back up your WhatsApps if you still use it, because like I told you before, the backup is not encrypted, and if the account is hijacked, all the data will come down. Keep the phone updated, and you can use. I'm not gonna pinpoint specific products, but there are some good products out there for securing mobiles. Google Fi is definitely the most secure phone carrier. It's almost impossible to do a SIM swap on Google Fi. If you add the Titan key, by the way, it's even more difficult to do a SIM swap or an account hijack. And again, like I said before, do not mix business with pleasure. Use a phone for business, use a phone for private. And with that, I think I'm done for now. So we can proceed with the questions if you want to. Thank you, Steve. Glad to see you, man. So let's see. Do we have a chat here? Okay. Briar. I looked at Briar yesterday. Briar is, I haven't had time to actually research it, but it seems like it's a P2P. Something similar was being used by the Hong Kong protesters, and I think that bought them some time. I think what the government ended up doing was finding out the port that the app that we're using and blocked it. But I have to actually research it. All these apps, like I said, this is the result of what I said before. There's a, doesn't have a name, but there is a movement to actually stay away from anything big tech means, and it's not just in the U.S. I'm telling you, it's not just the U.S. Many people around the world saw what happened and said, we're gonna create our own thing. So expect this, and expect you to have to research those things, because eventually those things will affect us here. You'll see. Any other question? No, I don't see anything. A little bit about the state of Android phones that go out of support. Yes, they are. They are a big problem, because a lot of the payloads, some payloads that may still valid, you're exposed to them, and there are not updates. Some of the apps are indeed discarded. They may not work, or they might be impersonated. So I wouldn't suggest to have an out-of-date Android phone unless it's a cut down. I only use it for voice and text messaging, and even then, I'm sure there will be some sort of a exploitation code found in all libraries or kernel. How well do Trojans get data partition phones? Listen, I have used Meterpreter before, and you can get everything as long as you allow the APK. In the case of Android, as long as you allow the APK to access or give them the permissions, I was able to. This is how, I don't know if you guys seen a documentary that I did with CBS Miami. I was able to actually extract the actual pictures. I saw the libraries. I was actually going to look into extracting the key from WhatsApp, because WhatsApp leaves the key in some of the folders, but I didn't get to do it. But it's something that is definitely good for further research. On the team of decentralized solutions, have you investigated any day app blockchain based for secure messaging? There was one. There was also a wallet. I had not really researched it. The thing about blockchain is how you use it, because if blockchain, if you're going to put the messages on blockchain, it's not private. That's going to stay there, and it will be attributable to your node, right? So it depends on how you use this. If you want to do it in a decentralized manner, meaning you can take me down from the connectivity perspective and the nodes are anonymized, then yeah, absolutely, I'm all for it. Lineage OS and other third-party Androids. I don't know. I haven't researched on that. For me, the way to approach this will basically be install that OS into any device, grab a device, install that operating system, and do a pen test. Use look at the permissions, look at the restrictions, look at the debug the applications. What is it doing? Where is it connecting? And then from there, we can take a look and see, okay, well, if we had an app that did X, Y, and Z, maybe this app will be able to do X things. So unfortunately, I'm not there yet. PIRL has a messaging system. I don't know about that. Guys, hold on. Let me give you the Discord. Discord, where are you here? Let me invite you guys. Let's see if I can copy this. Copy. And there's the invite for Discord. Remember, we're always on. Let's see what we got from Victor. What is the best MFA OTP? Google Authenticator. Google Authenticator. I researched on this before when I was doing SMS and SIM swap, and Google Authenticator is the best. Authy has some issues. They're probably fixing at this point, but Microsoft also. Microsoft Authenticator works. What happens sometimes with those apps, by the way, is that, and that had changed because the attackers found out that if I can keep pushing, let me in, then some people, for example, when they were launched or dinner, they just said yes, let them in. So now you had to actually look at the number and match it in order to approve it. Let's see what else we got. Oh, that's a good point. The MFAs like YubiKey or you can have Duo, or you can have the Titan key from Google. Physical tokens are great, but physical tokens wear off. They wear off, and then they don't fit, or they're not detected. That happened to me with a YubiKey. Where I was constantly doing the whole MFA, and then at one point it wasn't detected. I'm that old, yes. I had an RSA Real Secure, and I lost it, or TSA took it, and then I got blocked from everything. And there's no recourse. I had to actually go to an interview in order to get a second token. But yeah, if you take care of them and you can use them, by all means. When you actually purchase Titan, they force you to have two, which is cool. They force you to have two because that way you have a backup if you lose your Titan key. Let's see. I'm trying to address your. Oh, here's a good question. Aside from other countries, are seeing a trend in the US to simply stop using some big tech platforms? Is this like what other platforms are being used in the light of what's going on? I don't see a specific trend on what platform they're going. I can see that and that's why I asked Blue Fox. I asked Chris to do a presentation of this because we need to have some context of what's going on, where this is what happened. After what happened with Parler, right or wrong, many people went to other places. But what made things worse was that apparently Parler had all this information that then exposed all these people, right? This was almost like the Ashley Madison, where everybody was exposed, right? And so now I see more of a distrust of actually using this platform, and that's in my opinion one of the biggest dangers of this. That we had come to a point where people says, you know what, I don't want to deal anymore with any social media. I don't want to know anything about this. And one of the sectors of that, I can tell you, if I had to choose on a specific platform where it's almost, I would say 50-60% that people are going, is Telegram. Telegram. Why? Because they perceive that it's outside of the United States, and because it's there is not this perception that people are being observed, censored, or their stuff is being taken. But as I show you, I'm sure foreign intelligence services are using these tools to unmask and find out who's using and saying what. Let's see. Let's continue. How realistic do you think well-maintained Linux-based mobile OS in the future? Yes, but again, it's a cat and mouse game, right? Windows, for example, and Microsoft, I had to give them kudos. They had gotten much better at exploitation, but they still get exploited. Why? Because that is what most of the enterprise uses, and because of that, then there are adversaries are putting resources, time, and money into that, and eventually you will find a way to break into it. It's saying that I mean, well maintained helps, and it may reduce it in comparison to others. However, that does not guarantee it won't be exploited. And in fact, I think that the likelihood of a platform to be exploited is its popularity and the value of who uses it and what they carry on. So, a workaround, hold on. Trying to jailbreak my old iPhone, but when I go to All Store and try to connect to my iPhone, yeah, this is probably out of the scope for this presentation, but I can give it a look afterwards. If MFA is on your phone, hold on. Let's see, if MFA is on your phone and you can access sites apps, I lost it. Sorry. You use the MFA. Absolutely. Yes, that's true. BB. Yeah, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. When you do MFA in your own phone, that's not MFA. And if you have and if you use one of the tools like we just saw, like an Underrad or an MSpy, that won't do anything. By the way, and there's other tools, by the way, like Evil Jinx or Much Lishka that present it perfectly. You won't even be able to tell. Is there any resource you recommend for comparisons on the security or most common current that are better and fewer issues registering with carriers from manufacturers like Google Pixel? No, I don't. The best way to do this is basically go on the developer forums, do open source research, and you do your own testing. I'm sure if we were to get the manufacturer's competitive landscape, we'll get incredible info, but it's not that easily available. I'm sure you have to find it, but there's not a set. There is no like CIS benchmarks or any other type of maybe a MITRE attack or something that will tell us, hey, these are performed and per patch. None of that yet. I'm sure we'll get there someday. There we go. Linux phone available. I looked at that phone yesterday. They are in Poland, I think. Problems with Linux phones is easy. Yeah, well, yeah, they're easy to hack too. QAnon. uh, 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 listen, um, I seen so many conspiracy theories from like decades ago. I mean, that's QAnon is like it's just a flavor of the month. That will go away soon, I'm sure. Yeah, whatever. But it's funny, you know. Um, So any other questions, guys? I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I will post this presentation once I post the video. Remember, these things are what I show you is happening right now. It's this can be done today. Just be careful. Make sure you share the knowledge, protect you, yours, and try to stay safe. Thank you very much for coming, and we'll see you on a future meeting, February 20th. Remember, we're going to have Roger Grimes on Pacific Hackers. That should be also an amazing presentation. And we have some other great presentations from local researchers and seasoned professionals. So thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.